Welcome to the Entrepreneurial You, the TV edition where bold Caribbean visionaries share their journeys, innovations, and the lessons that shape our region's future. I'm your host, Heneka Watkis-Porter, and of course, I'm inviting you to tune in for genuine conversations with the leaders, thinkers, and doers who are driving progress in Jamaica and the region. This episode is brought to you by Liberty Business, JPS, Digital Video Concept, Madison Chai, and HenekaWatkis-Porter.com. We'll be right back. Today, I'm honored to introduce a pioneering businesswoman whose vision and leadership have shaped one of Jamaica's most beloved restaurant groups. Thalia Geraldine Lyn is the founder and vice chair of the Island Grill Group of Restaurants, a brand synonymous with authentic Jamaican cuisine and community impact. With decades of experience in entrepreneurship, finance, and philanthropy, Thalia's story is one of resilience, innovation, and dedication to uplifting the Caribbean. Thalia, welcome, welcome.
I heard you stumble over the Geraldine.
That was funny, because when I first heard it, I'm like, huh?
Yes,
so
okay.
It's been a long time coming, right? I know from the podcast edition, we should have been talking, but here we are now, live and in living colors on TV. So happy to have you. So where I want to start with you, Thalia, is your background. It would be interesting for you to share with our viewers a little bit about who young Thalia was.
Well, I come from a large family because there were 7 of us.
Mm-hmm.
My father adopted 5 of my cousins when their parents passed away. So there were 12 of us growing up together. So one thing we learned to do was we learned to squabble well.
I can imagine.
We learned to settle arguments well,
Mm-hmm.
but we had to share.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something that, was ingrained in us.
Yes.
And we learned, you don't realize it until later on in life that you're learning family values.
Oh, absolutely.
So that the sharing, that's part of it. The being nice to each other. Stop quarreling and just be nice to each other. Well, I can't help it. He hit me. But on top of that, there were 9 girls and 3 boys.
Mm-hmm.
So the boys were kind of quiet because the girls just would shout louder than they would. But the girls always felt they had to emulate the boys because my grandparents would have come from China to Jamaica, not speaking any English. My parents were born in Jamaica. But in Chinese families, the boys are the ones who count, right? So
Right.
I always knew that even though my father had worked really hard and developed a lovely, thriving business, I would never be part of it. So I think all of us girls realized that. And something he always emphasized, education is important. You all have to go to tertiary, whether you like it or not. And you have to get good grades because I can't send all of you. You have to get scholarships because with so many of you, it would be hard for me. And I remember at one stage, he had 5 of us in university and all abroad. And I thought, poor man.
Oh, wow. So what did you major in? What was your specialty?
I majored in English.
And was that like, was that something that that influence you got from either of your parents in terms of
I think, in my Euro, because I'm much older than you, Heneka, you're kind of sticking to the traditionals. So you were either going to be a teacher, maybe a doctor, maybe a nurse, but not even a doctor. That was a little ambitious. But it was more traditional types of careers. And I always thought I wanted to teach. So I graduated from university. Actually, I was in a rush to get married. So because I'd been going out with my husband for a long time. Immaculate Girls, St. George's Boys.
Okay, then.
And I decided that my father said, you can't get married until you're 21 and you have graduated from university. So I kind of rushed and I graduated from university at 20. I went
Okay.
summers.
Speed it up.
Convinced.
Let's get it over.
Yeah, no, I was in a rush. And I have to say, don't tell him though.
No,
It is
no,
my
no,
podcast.
no, absolutely not.
No regrets. But I taught at Immaculate for a year, but something he always wanted us to be, and this is about entrepreneurship.
Right.
It was hard for me to be in a well, this wasn't even 9 to 5. I chose teaching because we had long holidays.
Right.
But none of us girls were able to adapt really and truly to a 9 to 5 job. We all wanted to either consult or own our own business or just be independent.
Yeah.
You know, we don't take orders well.
Wow. And hence entrepreneurship. But before we even get there, you said something earlier about the Chinese, family, and not just necessarily the Chinese family, but you just, coming from a big family, the sharing is what you learned well. But I recognize, because on my experience visiting China, I realized like food is one thing that everybody communes over, right? And it's a thing like, you people get offended if you're not coming together and eating and sharing.
You have to break bread.
You have to break bread.
My grandmother, as I said, they came to Jamaica not speaking any English,
Right.
but no quarreling at table.
They learn that, right?
Yes. And you also, I remember my grandfather doing this and my father doing this, especially with a big family. When we sat at the table and said grace, then he would take out mommy's favorite pieces of like the chicken and set aside for her. And it's the same way we used to eat a lot with our grandparents. They weren't used to a lot of protein. They were not obviously very wealthy. So they would have little protein and lots of vegetables, and they would grow their own vegetables. So you were never hungry, and plenty of rice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Plenty rice.
Yes. We can't do without our rice. We're going to rice withdrawal, believe me.
Yeah. One of the things I really found interesting too, diverting a little bit, but just talking about visiting China and recognizing that the diet is so filled with rice, yet there's not a lot of obesity.
No.
And what I found, there's a lot of warm water. You ask persons for water, they give you literally hot water to drink.
Yes.
Right. And I was doing that before I even visited. And like, oh, maybe I'm Chinese somewhere. I don't know. But
you have a little.
Right?
Maybe we're even related. Who knows?
But what is interesting, and again, we're going to get to the whole entrepreneurship, because that's what this show is about. We're going to get there. So be patient. But I want to get a sense of the Chinese culture, of the son preference. We know that, right? In Asian culture, generally, there's a preference for the boy child. How did that impact you outside of, maybe you don't own your own business, but you do education? How did that impact you girls growing up?
Well, as I said, I always kind of knew that the businesses, and my father was really good. Considering, I remember my grandfather kept taking him out of school to help with the business. And the priest at St. George's said, no, you have to at least allow him to get a high school education because he's so bright. But we knew that whatever businesses were being started, that we were not going to be part of it. And I learned that when I came back from university. I said, here I am. And I said, really? So, it was the best thing that I could have done to start my own business, because there's nothing like ownership.
Right. So there's this thing of you don't get a seat at the table, you create your own table. You did that.
Yes. This is my table.
This is my table, right?
Bring your own chopsticks.
Bring your own chopsticks, as it is. And we're going to get into the whole entrepreneurship, your entrepreneurial journey, when we take this break and be right back. We'll be right back.
Oh, Jamaica, rise, passion and vibes. And through it all, there's a glow inside. Let's keep our shine alive.
From the market to the factory floors, from the hillside green to golden shores.
We're reaching heights, our energy that lights the sky. Shine bright, Jamaica. Shine bright, Jamaica. Feel the rhythm, we're on track. Feel it, feel it. Together we rise, together we climb. JPS Jamaica, together we shine.
Shine from the ends, shine with your family, shine with your friends. Light up the streets and make the vibes blend. Yo, JPS, they make the shine never end.
What great stories do you want to tell today? We are your storytellers. We are Digital Video Concept.
If you come to Jamaica and you want to have the best shoots ever, you have to call Digital Video Concept.
My experiences have been amazing.
They are fantastic.
Producing extraordinary imagery with high-definition cameras on the ground and in the sky.
Right when I landed in Jamaica, I felt the love.
I love working with them.
You've done an amazing job. You are the best.
Excellence is in our nature.
If I put everything together, it's a great team.
Call us today for all your video storytelling need.
None of this would be possible, of course, if we didn't have our partners at Digital Video Concept.
Are you ready? We are ready. Let's go!
Welcome back. It's the Entrepreneurial You. I'm Heneka Watkis-Porter, and my guest is Thalia Lyn, founder and vice chair of the Island Grill Group of Restaurants. I'm excited, Thalia, to continue our conversation, right? We were talking before the break about you don't have a table, you don't have a seat at the table, then you create your own table, of course, right? And bring your own chopsticks or a knife and fork or whatever. If you're in Africa, bring your fingers, wherever you are. Okay. So let's talk about you coming back from university. You hurried that up because you had to get married. Don't forget that part, right?
I had to wait until I was 21.
You still had to wait?
Yes, I
Even though you were
back
finished
from
at 20?
university
Yeah.
In December. I graduated like I was finished in 2.5 years in December, and I didn't turn 21 until March. So I had to wait, and then we had a June wedding.
Oh, the best wedding.
been
Was it
married
the
for
7th of June?
No, 10th.
Okay.
Close enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
You were saying?
I've been married for 58 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
And it works because my husband was an airline pilot and he was gone for half the time.
I am going to make sure he watches this episode. Okay, so you're back. Take us through the journey now. You waited a couple months until you were 21. You got married. What happened after that?
I taught at Immaculate, and then we actually migrated to Canada because he wanted to fly, and he went flying school, and he wanted to join Air Canada. I worked with a mutual fund company and diverted completely off track from teaching. I earned the Canadian Securities License, where I was a licensed stockbroker. I visited all these brokerage companies across Canada. I almost said Jamaica, but across Canada. And it was a learning experience for me because I'm not a financial person. I'm like a shop person. I can do that, but that was a challenge. Anyway, Air Jamaica came into existence. And
how can we forget Air Jamaica?
He decided he didn't want to fly for Air Canada. He wanted to fly for Air Jamaica. By then we had 2 sons who were born in Canada. But we came back to Jamaica.
And you come back and the entrepreneurial bug bit you
Yes, because
when?
they didn't have any space for me in the family business.
Right.
So we actually started Dairy Castle in Manor Park. This small little shop.
I know.
Soft-serve ice cream.
Yeah.
What happened is that we traveled. First time I'm being able to travel now. So we traveled, and my husband's name is Michael, by the way. He does have a name. And
Who would have thought?
And my partner, who was also a pilot, Captain David McCrae, they weren't captains at the time. They were, first officers. They had to work their way up. But we saw that they didn't have soft serve ice cream in Jamaica. And Big Mike, we call him Big Mike because we have a son. So Big Mike says, why, if we open a soft serve ice cream shop, I can eat all that soft serve ice cream I want. So that's what we did. And that is really the start of our journey, because we found that ice cream alone wasn't giving us enough profit. And you figure these things out
along the way.
The way. I mean, I did do economics and whatever. But it's when you get into it that you understand that all these things about ratios and so, really have a meaning. So I learned, profit and loss, balance sheet, it was coming back to me, although I majored in English, that the good thing about when you go away to university, they have what they call a liberal arts degree, that it gives you a little of everything. I did Russian literature, I did, history of art. And I used to think that the American girls were there to be able to speak at cocktail parties about every diverse subject and find a good husband. So since that was not my intent.
Because you already found someone?
Yeah, kind of, yes.
Following the story?
Yeah, but so we started with that. But it kind of morphed into, that's really what started us on the journey. And then we made hamburgers. And when I tell you made hamburgers, we used to make the hamburgers ourselves.
Wow.
We used to buy the mince, and we learned that we could buy this little molder, put it in. This is out of a 400 square foot shop up at Manor Park. And that's where Burger King is today. That little shop, that's where we were. So come right back around to burgers.
Oh, yeah.
But no, we had
Thanks
fun.
to you, right?
We had fun.
So, and then how did that end? How did that business end?
As I said, we said we're going to go a little further. We opened a second place and we added chicken. And we weren't quite sure what kind of chicken. So we put in fried chicken, and we didn't have these fancy pressure fryers and everything else. We were frying the chicken with a deep fryer, that you do your French fries.
French fries, yes.
So that's how we started off. And then we wanted to differentiate ourselves. So we said, why don't we do a healthier version of chicken? So we started something called Chicken Supreme. And Chicken Supreme then opened more stores, and then we wanted to further differentiate ourselves. And actually, who helped me with that is Mohan Jagnarayan, who now owns
Perchery. Yes.
So he says, Mrs. Lyn, why don't we put jerk seasoning on the chicken, right? And it's very innovative, very creative. So we tried the jerk seasoning on the chicken, and we found, nobody else is doing it in this kind of environment. You have the pan man, you have it at, different places. But if we can develop a concept that is as close to the pan man, but in a quick service environment, and then scale, maybe it could work.
Yeah. And it did work.
It did
and it
work.
is working.
It wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy. Let's talk about some of those challenges that you had.
Well, I think it was my son, who is in the business with me now, saying to me, Mom, what's your strategy? I said, what do you mean strategy? I don't understand you. He says, my strategy is I'm going to keep opening restaurants. And he says, I don't know how you're going to do that, because every time you open a restaurant anyway, they keep calling Dad to come and guarantee the loan, right? This is another thing about being a woman in business. And I think, the first venture with Dairy Castle, they asked my father to come and guarantee the loan. I guess because I was also young and totally inexperienced. But I've finally gotten the banks to even I don't even have to sign a guarantee anymore. You know how they want a guarantee for your house and your child and everything
because
else.
you've built and established yourself, right?
We have credibility, and we have so much goodwill.
Yeah. So the challenge at the onset was in a male-dominated world.
They were being very Chinese.
Yes. Well, I didn't say. In a male-dominated world, it required that you couldn't get a loan on your own, right? You had to get either your father or your husband to come and guarantee that. So that was one of the challenges. Moving along, what are some of the other challenges? Because we look and we see Island Grill established not just in Jamaica. We're going to talk about, you know, the scaling in a bit. But we know, as an entrepreneur, I know that it's not easy. It cannot be easy. What were some other challenges that you experienced as you were expanding?
You know, I guess it's just the inexperience of not really having a business before.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I could negotiate with the bank and say, you know, this fee is a little bit high, right? Just even with credit cards,
Yeah.
you have a credit card machine, you think you have to pay this 2.5%, whatever it was. I didn't know I could negotiate, you know. So when I got up to volume, I'm saying, why am I paying? That's when you see that you're
It's all adding up.
Yes.
Everything is adding
But
up now.
those kinds of things, you don't learn it in business school. You don't learn it in, you know, I wouldn't think of saying it to somebody else because it's not part of your business plan.
Yeah.
But it's just being also prepared, because what caught us was FinSac. Early in our, when we were fairly new in the business, and I had an overdraft, and from then I have never had another overdraft, because there again, you know, you have an overdraft, you can just keep writing checks.
There's money there.
Paying attention to the fact that they're charging you, come back again to the interest.
Yeah.
You have to keep watching the interest. And I thought I was going out of business. And I thought, having come out of FinSac, where interest rates went, if you went over your limit, they charge you a penalty fee on the check, they charge you this high interest rate, which was almost up to 100%. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And you see, you don't notice it until you sit and calculate it out.
Yeah.
Just how usurious it is. So that was a big lesson. And then when I thought I knew everything, COVID came.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have a little war chest, you know, so that is something to that.
What you call it, your war
my
chest?
war chest. You know, my son says, "Mom, don't call it a war chest." You know,
It's a rainy day.
yes, just give it another. Just call it your. My daughter-in-law came up with it. My son is also Mike, and Denise is my daughter-in-law. So she says we call it a stability fund. I said, okay, fine, but it's still my war chest.
It's your war chest,
But
yes.
we didn't know whether we were coming or going. We were closed 45% of the time. I take my produce from small farmers. I can't let them, you know, not bring me stuff, because, and then the next day I'm saying, oh, we'll be open. The government says no curfew this weekend. And then, you know, you have to work hand in hand with your partners. I can't expect them to respond to me overnight if I don't also keep to my schedule with them to act as best I can.
How many locations are you, is Island Grill right now?
17 3/4.
Oh, yes.
Opening in White River, sometime in July. Fingers crossed that
Sometimes in July.
as well.
All goes well.
And, you know, that will be our 18th store.
17 and counting stores. Scaling, how did you get to the point? And you're not just in Jamaica. Where other?
No, we're only in
We're
Jamaica.
only in Jamaica right now?
Right now, we're only in Jamaica.
Oh.
And that's what you have to be careful about when scaling.
Let's talk about that, because I know that you had opened other branches
We had two in
outside
Florida.
Right. So let's talk about the challenges in scaling a business, because many entrepreneurs are watching now and they're thinking about, you know, growing their businesses, and what are some of the challenges that you know, we should look out for when we're scaling a business of that magnitude?
Well, you just can't keep things in your head anymore. You have to write them down and have them in manuals. You have to have standard operating procedures, SOPs. And this is, as I said, you know, I'm like, I have shop sense, but when it comes now to being very sophisticated about this whole thing, that's why I'm thankful my son and daughter-in-law, and we have an external CEO, like Tanya Waldron Gooden is our CEO, and she's not a family member, but she is so fabulous.
Yes.
You know, that we all listen to her, and she will help us to scale.
All right, so we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we want to talk about that family dynamics, running a family business, what are the implications, things like that. Let's take a break.
Oh, Jamaica, rise, we're built with fire, passion and vibes, and through it all, there's a glow inside. Let's keep our shine alive.
From the market to the factory floors, from the hillside green to golden shores.
We're reaching heights, our energy that lights the sky. Shine bright, Jamaica. Shine bright, Jamaica. Feel the rhythm, we're on track. Feel it, feel it. Together we rise, together we climb. JPS Jamaica, together we shine.
Shine from the ends, shine with your family, shine with your friends. Light up the streets and make the vibes blend. Yo, JPS, they make the shine never end.
What great stories do you want to tell today? We are your storytellers. We are Digital Video Concept.
If you come to Jamaica and you want to have the best shoots ever, you have to call Digital Video Concept.
My experiences have been amazing.
They are fantastic.
Producing extraordinary imagery with high-definition cameras on the ground and in the sky.
Right when I landed in Jamaica, I felt the love.
I love working with them.
You've done an amazing job. You are the best.
Excellence is in our nature.
If I put everything together, it's a great team.
Call us today for all your video storytelling need.
None of this would be possible, of course, if we didn't have our partners at Digital Video Concept.
Are you ready? We are ready. Let's go!
Welcome back. It is the Entrepreneurial You. My guest today is Thalia Lyn. She is founder and vice chair of the Island Grill Group of Restaurants. Thalia, your story is just interesting. Just listening to what we've talked about in the first segment, now into, the scaling and all of these challenges that you've had. It's an interesting story. And we know it's a family operated business. Island Grill is a family operated business. What are some of those dynamics that make it different from a non-family operated business?
Well, what I would say is, you always want the best for your children and from your children.
For and from.
So that's kind of hard. And my son, he's an art major. He went to Rhode Island School of Design. His wife is the same thing. So they're very creative, very innovative, but they're not necessarily business people. And I have to be careful because they're also very philanthropic and very community minded. So you have to balance the two. But luckily for me, the good thing is that because I actually thought my daughter-in-law would take over as CEO. And she just said one day, you've even gone on air and said it. But she says, I don't think I have the financial background to be able to do it. And that's the beauty of my family. We kind of say what we feel and what we want to say. It's not easy. I mean, we have fights, and sometimes I have to say, shh, right? Remember, we live on a hilltop and the sun is going down. But we mightn't speak to each other for a few days, but we get through it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the beauty of it. And I mean, if I've been married 58 years, my son is 57. Right. And I have another son. I have 2 sons, 4 grandchildren. But and it's a rocky road, but it's the family values that hold you together. And if they're going to be in the business, that is what has to hold you together.
Right.
So going forward, I don't know what the future is going to bring because our CEO is saying, look, we're at the stage, you talk about scaling, that if we want to open more stores, and that is on the drawing board, we're probably going to have to expand our commissary. They've given it a fancy name now. What again? Factories and Fulfillment Center. FFC. So they're coming with all. I mean, I even had me reading Harvard Business Reviews every morning and everything else. But it's good. It opens up your mind. But they're seeing things like this that I would probably open a store and then not realize that the backup isn't there. And also in areas like cybersecurity, which is so important right now, in using technology. Where, I mean, I remember the days I used to sit and program the cash register, but I mean, we have everything set up. So at the end of the day, it tells you exactly what you have sold, and you can check your inventory, which isn't easy either because you still have to physically count. But if you're out 1.5 festivals, it can tell you. So this is, with technology, the way it is now, it will never replace human beings, but you have to keep up with it. And I still remember the first day Craig, my second son, taught me how to cut and paste. So and when I think of how advanced everything is now, I mean, he's in the movie business and he says, Mom, AI is taking over.
Absolutely.
And, for us to stay current in Jamaica and for young entrepreneurs coming up, they have an advantage because their minds are already thinking that way, and it will be so helpful to them. But don't be taken over by robots and computers. Still remember that you have to have a little bit of emotional intelligence.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you have to value people. You have to. Jamaica has been good to us, right? Our staff, I can't do without them. So if I want them to stay with me, I have to be nice to them. But I'm telling them, you have to be nice to me too.
As well.
Right? Sometimes they think, you walk past me, you never tell me morning. I said, but you
never tell me morning.
They're learning. And Mike developed some words that are hallmarks of Island Grill. Nicefulness, right? He says, this company must be full of nicefulness. Right, he says, and there are things like you have to look at your job as he wants our team to come into Island Grill, and it must be their first best job. A lot of them come out of school straight to us, and he says even if they move on, he wants them to have the memory of it being their first job, but it was such a fulfilling experience.
Right.
So he says every day you have to do a little better every day. And he developed all these things. Born a yard, you're born right here. And everything we develop, though, somebody else takes it, which is fine because they might embellish on it. But there's such useful words and such big values.
Yeah, and I suppose it speaks a lot to some of the values you were telling me earlier about, growing up in, your family and stuff. I want to spend a little time, Thalia, talking about, you stepping away as CEO. But I know a lot of things are consuming your time nonetheless. I mean, when I just met you a couple of years ago, it was through NCB Capital Quest. You remember that competition?
Yes.
And we had this competition where we had to come into Island Grill and we did a marketing campaign, and that was amazing. Right. So I know you do a lot of work with NCB. Right, you're on the board?
I'm on the board I'm on the group board.
The group board, and you work with the foundation as well.
Chair the foundation.
And tell me about that work.
Oh, I love it. Because I'm helping the bank give away their money because the NCB Foundation is funded by, we get a percentage of the profits.
Yes.
And so every time you use your credit card, say, think about it, that you're helping all of these people. And we did such a lovely job with the hurricane recovery. We had hurricane burial.
Right.
And our chairman, as you know, is the most charismatic person you can think of. He's a rock star. He says, I'm going to give away $150 million. And everybody else in the bank, all the management is saying, Chairman, where are you going to get the money from? He says, well, you have to make sure I get it. But in the whole, what I said is, and it's matching funds. He says, I will give away up to 150 if we get the matching funds. And Heneka, I found the most amazing partners to work with, right? I said to Jason Hensel at Breads, you get money all the time and you have all your, usual guests who want to help you repair roofs. We'll match it, we'll double the money. American Friends of Jamaica, right? They are a group of former US ambassadors who have such a love for Jamaica. And it also enabled us to get money from the Jamaican diaspora that could come through them, and they get the tax write-off as well. Food for the poor. I mean, I could go on and on. I'm also an ambassador for the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange.
Right.
So there again, Brian Jardim from Rainforest wanted to spend $5 million for the fisher folk. And I said, put it through the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange and we'll match it. You'll have $10 million to give away.
High five.
No, but Heneka, not only that, I mean, we were oversubscribed so quickly that I had to, I can't take all the credit because, I mean, I have some heavy lifters there who really, the team at Foundation, we had to go back to the bank, cap in hand and say, we need more money because the money is just pouring in. We partnered with UNICEF, which is a big thing for us, to have a big international agency like that. And you know how bureaucratic that is.
Yes.
And I'm not saying anything out of school. I say, Olga, you're trying to kill us over here. This is Olga from UNICEF. But we did it. Food for the Poor partnered with us to help us because they're used to doing programs like that. And we gave out all these lovely pails of nutritional products for the children, and then you have to have for the parents. And we're about to start on a wash program because there's still so many pipes that need to be connected, and just sanitizing the water, that sort of thing. So we're just getting into gear to do that. Partnership with UNICEF and Food for the Poor. See how the partnerships work?
Why are you doing all of this?
Why? I'm also on the board of Mustard Seed. Let me tell you.
Wait, there's more.
No, because they were part of this as well. Monsignor Gregory and Father Garvin, they said, how are we going to replace all the roofs on we have 13 apostolates, I call them, throughout the island, and all the roofs gone and, flooding and everything else. I said, Father, I will even forward the money for you first, so we don't miss out on it. I'll upfront it, so you can get from NCB, and then you start begging now
and then
to give me back my money. I said, because I'm not going to hold the bag for you. And then do it. Once I said, look, this money was upfronted for us, we have to replace it. So you have to help them figure it out to,
Yeah. I want to know why you do it though, and how important is it for leaders, entrepreneurs, business owners to leave this kind of a legacy of social impact?
It's something my father always did. Like starting off in business, it's like tithing, he used to call
absolutely.
it. But he didn't call it that. He used to say, always remember to give back. Always remember where you're coming from. Always remember the people who helped me. And see if you can help somebody else, because he says there's nothing more gratifying than that.
Absolutely.
And nowadays too, I like to see it, but I don't like to feel it's forced. In schools, they have to do some kind of community work. We do it with our scholarships, NCB Foundation, we give away all this money for scholarships every year. I can't help but brag because, it makes me feel so good because we do so much good, right?
Yeah.
So it's part of the understanding that even if it's just mentorship, that goes a far, far way.
Absolutely. Speaking of mentorship, there is a social enterprise that I run called Grace to Grow Mentorship and Training, and it's a free program for women over 3 months. They're mentored. They don't pay a cent, and they're mentored in leadership, entrepreneurship, and all of these things. And we're definitely going to be calling on you. So putting it up there on the spot.
Well, the partnerships, what can I say?
Absolutely.
Better because you have twice the impact. So, it takes the pressure off of any one person or
Person.
organization. And when you know that, you can speak to each other and the exchange of ideas, ideating is just so important.
Fabulous, and just, empowering, and to whom much is given, much is expected. You've been given a lot, and you've been given a lot and give a lot.
Thank you.
It has been a pleasure, Thalia, to host you.
Mine.
Yes, I've had a lot of laughs.
Jet lag
And all, right? You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Nobody could tell. I couldn't tell that you were jet lagged, but thank you so much for coming. It's been a while that we needed to, sit down and talk. Thank you so much. And that's it. That's a wrap on this amazing conversation that I've been having with Thalia Lyn. And she is the founder and vice chair of the Island Grill group of restaurants. But don't go anywhere.
No, I have to thank the crew. All I'm saying is thank you very much. Sometimes we don't see what goes on behind the scenes, and it's a lot of work too.
It is. And with that, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Coming up, Liberty Tech Talk.
It's now time for Liberty Tech Talk, brought to you by Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
For decades, we have learned that the only thing that was constant was change. But now we are realizing that the new change is transformation. Internet of Things, IoT, or we refer to it as smart solutions, is definitely new technology, emerging technology that takes all shapes and forms that can effectively contribute to the re-engineering, redesign, and ultimately the transformation of your operations, your critical business processes. When looking to deploy IoT solutions within your environment, the place that we always think is a good place to start is with energy management. Why this is interesting is because energy management is easy to deploy and you see your returns almost immediately. IoT also allows you to incorporate air purification systems into your environment. With air purifiers such as this, we're able to test the air quality and remove particles from the air that are unhealthy. All of the feedback that this device is capturing is recorded on a dashboard, and so we have our data gathering and we can get information that will help us to make decisions about air quality. But when we tie this air quality solution into our HVAC or our air conditioning systems, we can now begin to manage for energy management and cost reduction. How do we do this? The typical installation of an HVAC system is incorporating configurations that tell that system when to take fresh intake of air from outside to keep the area refreshed. When we connect that system to our air quality solution, we are now able to tell the HVAC when to take that pull of fresh air. So if we are now taking fresh inputs of air whenever it's required, rather than the routine every 20 minutes, statistics have shown that we are able to reduce our energy consumption by up to 40% when that's done well. The journey to IoT is a journey. What do we encourage you to do? Just start. How do you get started? Let's look at one critical area, one critical business process that you would like to do a proof of concept, and we at Liberty Business will assist you to get that going. By partnering with Liberty Business, you will quickly see the value of smart energy solutions and the impact that it has on your operational costs.
That was Liberty Tech Talk. For today's Community Connection, we're highlighting a creative entrepreneur who brings color and comfort to living spaces. Antoinette Sinclair is the founder of House of Calijo's, a bespoke soft furnishings business specializing in pillows, cushions, bed linens, drapes, curtains, and balances. With a passion for sewing and an eye for color blending, Antoinette customizes living spaces to reflect personal style and comfort. Welcome, Antoinette. Welcome. It's good to have you in our Community Connection segment. Let's talk a little bit about you. Who is Antoinette? Let our audience know.
Antoinette is
We're outspoken and I like creativity.
We're outspoken and like creativity.
I like to create things to look different.
Yeah, and usually sometimes that you go hand in hand because sometimes the creative ones are very shy, but this one very outspoken, right? Okay, so you are a business owner. Yay! Yes. When did you start?
I've always been sewing, but I just decided. Well, I used to take this as my hustle. I was serious about it, but whenever I'm not working, this is what I do, and I love sewing. It's my passion. I didn't choose clothes.
Clothes,
I
clothes.
can assemble
Okay.
clothes, but I just decided, okay, I want to do this. I like to see different things and stuff like that. So I just take on to soft furnishing.
Okay, so you didn't choose clothes like
Yeah,
you
I
did
can
too.
do that, but
That's not your thing. So you were doing it as a side hustle,
yes.
and you just decided. When did you decide that you know what this is a business? You know.
Well, since when the work is not going on, this one is the bread and butter.
Which is when was it officially registered?
Okay, I registered it. I think it was like 2 years ago or so.
2 years ago.
Yes, I was decided I'm going to register this thing, and I did.
Okay,
So I just
business,
come with
right?
the name House of College.
Where that name come from?
Well, it's my son and my daughter's name put together.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe my daughter's first name and my son's middle name. So I just merged it.
Okay. So you're training them to be the business as well.
Well, my son have a high for designing and he's creative. He's a visual artist and the painting and the drawing. But he's young still, so yeah. But my daughter, she can work things too. But she don't really.
Okay. So and this is some of your
Yeah.
stuff that you brought here. Push on. You feel nice. You very nice. Let me see what you have in your
Okay,
hand.
this is a
That's a
cushion cover. Yeah.
cushion cover, right?
My 20 size.
So, and then
Okay, this is like if you have your bathroom window or your washroom, you can just, wrap up the sunlight.
okay.
So this is just a short thing.
Alright, so in terms of your fabric, do you specialize in any
Yes.
types of fabric or
Yes, well, I like the durability.
durability?
of fabric.
Okay, so when you're thinking about getting fabric durability, what other consideration?
Like the color scheme.
Color scheme.
Yeah, and some persons like if you're making for a bedroom or hotel that want something dark. So I say, okay, I'm going to use a thick fabric that black out the sunlight.
Okay. Okay. What else you have?
It's a pillowcase.
So you don't want to make it and let the fabric feels good. And
This is, well, this part belongs to the piece. We want advertise. It's supposed to be a display here. Okay, so this is the dream. And it's not that light, you can block out the light also.
so where did you learn to sew, Anthony?
Well, I used to have a friend who have a machine and I used to like interested in sewing. So my mom, I told her, so let's just sew jeeps. And she said, really? Okay, I'm gonna get to learn to sew. And she went to a tailor shop and she asked if they could. And I started, everyone here was making clothes. I was making bags and runners and cushion covers and curtains. And my sister said, okay then, since I'm going to let you go to garments, I'm going to pay for a person your birthday. And she did just that. And I went to garments and did soft French.
The rest is history. You don't get to do one course of garments just every man. No, bitch. All right. Anyway, so where do you want to take this business? What's the vision for it?
The vision is to something like a manufacturing or a boutique.
The manufacturer boutique. You know this guy's a name, right?
Yes, yes.
That is whatever you can conceive, you can actually achieve. So I wish you all the best that you can continue to pursue your business.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. So all the very best team. And where can persons check you out if they want you to?
Okay, I am on Instagram, House of Colleges. It's on Instagram.
Spell it for them, please.
Okay. Let's spell the colleges so you won't get it wrong. It's KHALIJOOES.
Okay.
And it's on Instagram. So
House of So check out Antoinette and her business, House of Cottages, on Instagram. Again, thanks for coming. If today's conversation sparked a new idea or inspired or motivated you to take action, then by all means, please share the entrepreneurial you with a friend and join our community of Caribbean change makers. For more stories, resources, and the Entrepreneurial You podcast, which features the world's top entrepreneurs and leaders, please visit HenekaWatkis-Porter.com. A very big thank you to our sponsors, Liberty Business, JPS, Digital Video Content, Max and Shine, and HenekaWatkis-Porter.com. Remember, in the words of Zig Ziglar, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. What good? Today, I am super excited to welcome a true trailblazer in... No, the wrong one that you take up, sir. Today, I'm honored to introduce a pioneering businesswoman whose vision and leadership have... Welcome back. My guest today is Thalia Lyn, and she is the vice chair and founder of... which one again? Island Grill. Welcome back. It's the Entrepreneurial You, and my guest today is Thalia Lyn, founder and vice chair of Island Grill group of companies, restaurants, group of restaurants.